Hello, beautiful people. This is Shelley Balara. Anyway, I'm coming to read the next chapter of my book, Onyx Love. Now, before I start reading the book, I just want to express that the first chapter, when I was reading it, well, first, how are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing okay. I can't complain. Um, just want to check in with you and ask you how you doing. Hi, my 16 subscribers. Well, anyway, what I was trying to say about the book in chapter 4. Now listen, Onyx, she's straight laced. Like she don't do no drugs. She not into the threesomes. She's straight laced, you know. But I don't want, like, in the fourth chapter, she was saying that Leon was into some things like man on man, girl on girl. I'm not homophobic. I wasn't trying to come across as, with something wrong with being with a woman if you're a woman and being with a man if you're a man. That's your business. But I was just trying to actually get across in the book about orgies, not, you know, man and man and woman, lesbian, gay, whatever. I just don't want to come across as that because me personally, I don't have any type of homophobic bone in my body. I love everybody. But anyway, as the book goes on, it's going to get into detail about, well, I won't tell you. Anyway, let's just get it going. I did the first the fourth chapter, and I didn't get a lot of views on that, but I'm just gonna keep on reading the chapters and get deeper into the book because people can go back and look at it as long as it's up, and I'm gonna keep it up. Now I know, like, I have been doing videos on the YouTube beefs, but on another note, I don't know if I'm gonna keep on doing that because it just seems like the way that I've been looking at YouTube, the culture of it, it just seems like the more, like, negative aspects or like the fighting and the drama, you want to look at. That's a guilty pleasure to look at drama going on. But so I try to, like, bring people to my page, for something that they're interested in, and then maybe they might look at the other videos. But I don't think I'm gonna be doing the beefs anymore because I don't want them to fight. But anyway, I think I'm gonna do some more about the Ramika and Holly Johnson case though, because I'm enthralled. I'm obsessed about the case. And the only reason why I'm so obsessed about the case is because how many people get shot? I mean, it's probably somebody right now getting shot right now. But this girl gets shot and her energy goes to Africa. Every people in Africa know about what's going on, what happened. People in Asia, and I mean all of these different places, people, it went around the world. So I have to pay close attention to that and see what it's trying to say. What's the meaning of that? So I'm going to do some more um, videos on that. But anyway, back to the book, Onyx Love. And it's so funny because I'm reading this book. I haven't read this book in many years. And I was talking to my son and he was like, you know, you should write another book. Or my mother, she was like, you should write another book. But I feel like these three books that I have haven't reached where I wanted to reach. And I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to push these books until they go where I feel like they need to go. And they haven't really been very successful. So I want, for me, like I was just trying to tell my son, he was like saying, well, because he went to college and he graduated, he want to flex his bachelor's degree in my face. And so I just wanted to tell him, he was like, well, I've done something lately. He's counting the years of my books. I'm like telling him, you write one book and then talk to me. I'm a whole author. I've written three books. Then he started talking about Stephen King, how many books Stephen King wrote. And I was like, I don't write like that. Like, I don't write just to. Some people can write like that. Like, some people can sit down and just write like that, but I don't write like that. I I have to have a feeling, and it has to move me a certain way. It has to come. It has to flow. I can't just surfacely write. So all three of my books have meaning. Onyx Love has meaning. I don't know if you would, if you believe in it or not. That's the thing. But anywho, hope you're having a great day. I'm off for. I've been having a lot of days off, and even though you don't get as much money as you should when you work 80 hours or a 40-hour week. Sometimes them days off be so appreciated. And you don't want to be like that because you don't want to be broke. I mean, nobody wants to be broke. And the harder you work and the more you work, the more money you get. But sometimes you just need to rest your body. Because my body, sometimes after I'm at work, I can't walk. Like, that's how physical my job is. And sometimes you just need peace of mind. You just need to take a break. So they've been giving me like 3 days off in a row, and that's just been lovely for me. But I digress. Anyway, so now we're on chapter 5. And this book, let me see, Onyx Love has 19 chapters. So we're going to get into it. And so the last chapter, chapter 4, Leon and Onyx made love. And for the first time, so whatever. Okay, so I'm going to read chapter 5, and it's called Trapped in the Closet. So here I go. As I walked to my office, I could see a crowd in the lobby. What was going on? I questioned. I walked closer to the mayhem. It was Ariel. Oh, oh my, I was not in the mood for Miss Hollywood. I saw Julie running in the other direction. She was such a coward. There's Onyx, my assistant pointed in my direction. Okay, note to self, fire assistant. Ariel flung her Gucci bag around her shoulders and stomped her Jimmy Choos toward me and my phony smile. I am not opening for Leon and them. Someone is confused. He should be opening for me. Ariel swung her 20-inch weave around, almost hitting me in the face. Good morning, Ariel. I stood there trying to put Miss Thing in her place. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not opening for Leon and them. I guess it didn't work like I thought it would have. I proceeded to walk into my office. Ariel, please sit down. I put my purse and my briefcase on my desk. Ariel slowly sat down in my comfortable chair, getting comfortable. We knew, we know you're a headliner. I sunk in my chair for the butt kissing and smooth that was about to go down. No doubt, Ariel interjected. With this in mind, Ariel, us records needs this favor. All you have to do is a couple of songs, a 20-minute set, just to put your name on the ticket, to pull in some crowds, and we will pay you a percentage as if you did a whole set. Real talk? Ariel laid some slang on me. Yeah, for real. I think I didn't quite get it right. Ariel started to talk as my phone started to ring. Excuse me, I have to get this. Is she in your office? Julie was on the other end laughing. Uh-huh, I said, trying to hold in my laugh. I placed Julie on hold. Ariel, I must take this, but we will go over the details soon. I will have the papers drawn up and sent to your manager. Cool. Ariel got up and walked out of my office. I took Julie off hold. I'm going to kick your butt, I said as Julie laughed so loud I not only heard her on the phone but down the hallway. Now to more pressing issues. How was it? Julie was inquiring about my night with Cleveland. Ooh, Julie, you are nosy, I said as if I was disgusted. But I wasn't disgusted. We talked about her and Keith's sex life all the time, and boy, did they have one. I was jealous and somewhat embarrassed of the fact that my relationship fell short. It was cool, I sighed. Uh-oh, Julie said. Now wait, it was okay? You know, it was the first time, I said, trying to defend our honor. Ah, oh, Julie said again. Look, I just walked into the office, and thanks to you, before I could put my bags down, I had issues. So let me get to work. Besides, I'm going to Martha's Vineyard this weekend for holiday, I said to Julie in a smug tone. Oh, excuse me, Julie said. Holiday, heifer? Holiday? Now, huh? We both started laughing as I hung up the phone and attended all of the details of the concert. Excuse me. I looked up at the voice that was standing in my doorway. As I saw the shadowy image of a woman that I once liked, I wondered what God was trying to tell me. Hello, Stephanie. I leaned back in my chair and tilted my head to the side. May I come in? Stephanie asked as she walked in my office before I could answer her question. I just smiled at this point. Well, listen, I'm going to be working on the tour for Leon and Ariel. Lady thought I should come and drop off the budget for the hotels, and you know what I do, Stephanie said smugly as she made herself comfortable in my comfortable chair. As I looked at this woman, her hair was pulled tightly back in a bun that looked as sandy as a beach. Her face very oval and skin silky smooth. She never had to wear a lot of makeup. Cream Versace suit, fingernails manicured. She seemed to have everything going for herself, even my man. Excuse me. But yet she didn't have my man. My man was taking me to Martha's Vineyards this weekend. I started to perk up. Okay, just leave the papers with my assistant, I said to Stephanie, not knowing why she was informing me about a piece of paper. She knew the protocol. I pointed to the door where my assistant's desk was. And yes, I know what to do, I replied as we stared at each other again, not saying a word. I thought, what was her angle? What did she want? Leon and I were not in touch. I had moved on. Why the checkup? I stood up. Me in my black suit, her in her white. I had enough of this. If anybody should be playing games, I had the right. I walked around my desk and past her while she stood still to close my office door. Okay, let's not get too comfortable in my office. We both know you're not here to give me any papers. What do you want? I only have a few minutes to attend to this, so have at it, I said as I leaned on my desk and crossed my feet, showing my Prada pumps. What do you want? I asked Stephanie again. Real dramatic, Onyx. Stephanie walked towards the door and opened it. Yes, don't start nothing, won't be nothing, I said as I watched her walk out of my office. What the hell was that? I couldn't figure her out. What was her angle? This was most disturbing to me. Here I was trying to move on, trying to make a life with Cleveland, and this chick was sniffing around. I can't win for losing. I walked over to my window and looked out at the skyline. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes as I really imagined what type of future I could have with Cleveland. I started to smile as I saw nothing but the white picket fence. It was lovely. It was attainable and it was clear. It was midnight and I was still packing for my trip. We had to take a plane to New York and renting a car to drive down to the vineyard. I was excited about the trip. I had never been to Martha's Vineyard, but I knew that it was old money and new money mixing together having a vacation. Sometimes it was $1,000 just to get into a club. I hope I make a good impression on Cleveland's family and friends. I knew his parents liked me for sure, but his grandmother was going to be there, and I heard she was a firecracker. Cleveland's going to meet me at the airport at 7 a.m. He had to work late, so I agreed to take a cab. I think I'm going to need another suitcase. I wanted to be prepared for everything. I had almost packed every pair of summer shoe I own. Suits, linens, cottons. I even threw in a bunch of hair pieces because you never know. Ring the telephone. I looked under the things on my bed and around the floor looking for the cordless. Hello, Honest, can you come get me? Who is this? Oh, now you don't know my voice. It was Leon's tired behind. What do you want? I seem to have been asking him and his people this question a lot. I need you, Onyx. I'm down here in Laguna Niguel and I am stranded. I can't drive and I don't want to take a cab. Someone might recognize me and who knows, I might end up in jail or get some type of negative press. Please, Annie. Excuse me. I was Annie all of a sudden. Oh my lord. She trying to go and move on with her life with this other guy and here this fool come calling her. Oh Lord, who did he believe himself to be? Michael Jackson? He only had one record. My voice gets scratchy. I need some water. I could tell in his voice he was either high or drunk. Where is Stephanie? I asked, being sarcastic, curious to understand. She's here too, but things are getting out of hand. Goodbye, Leon. You are not my problem, I said as I hung the telephone up in his face. I sat on the bed with the telephone in my hand. I was pissed. Not only is he calling me to pick him up, he is calling me to pick him up and his girl pick him and his girlfriend up. Mother, before I could finish my thought, the phone rang again. I sat there with the phone in my hand, feeling the vibration. Finally, it stopped. For some reason, I was frozen. I couldn't move. What if he really was in trouble? The phone rang again. Onyx, don't hang up the phone. Please come get me. Leon pleaded. I knew why Leon called me because he knew what was ever going down, I would keep his secret. I looked at the clock. It was already 1 a.m. I could put my suitcase in the car and get to Heckle and Jekyll, drop them off, and just pay for parking at the airport. Where are you, Leon? Leon told me the directions. He was an hour away. If I moved fast, I could make it. I zipped the suitcase up, threw on my jeans, and grabbed a t-shirt. I slipped on my Adidas and grabbed my coach bag and suitcase. I was on my way. As I drove down the 405 freeway, I didn't have the energy to put on the radio. I couldn't believe I was on my way to get Leon. I think men has some type of radar. There's another man around. I think it's time to screw up that relationship. I was going top speed. If I finally made it off the freeway, I finally made it off the freeway. Leon gave great directions for someone who couldn't drive. He better be in some real trouble. There it was. I drove down the coast and up to a huge house, 2 bedrooms away from a mansion. He could not find anybody in this house to take his broken down behind home. I parked the car and walked up to the door. I could hear the music and partygoers. Gosh, it was almost 2:30 in the morning. I was surprised no one called the cops. I rang the doorbell. A guy with no shirt holding a glass of some kind of rum answered the door. Come in, honey. Come on in. The guy said in a distasteful tone, looking at me like I was some kind of steak. I stepped in the door and the smell of marijuana reeked all over. As I looked closer, women were walking around with their breasts out. Men were running around with their clothes completely off. I straightened up my shirt and held tightly to my purse. This was unbelievable. Marble floors, granite, countertops, stone walls. If this was my place, nothing like this would be going down. Where was Leon's ass? I was clearly perturbed. Leon was at an orgy and my stupid self was here too. I walked down the hallway looking at the mess that was my life and I pushed a door open. There was Stephanie, another chick, and Johnny Fox in the bed doing their thing. My first instinct was to close the door and search for Leon, but this was too good. I walked over to the bed of love. I tapped Stephanie on her arm. Where's your man? I shouted. Stephanie turned around from her twist. What in the hell are you doing here? Looking up at me, kind of laughing and barely opening her eyes. She was high. On what? I had no idea. The woman had it all together in my office 10 hours earlier was gone, at least in my eyes. Is this another one of your friends, Stephanie? Johnny Fox asked. No, I am not, I said quickly, confusing him and probably messing with his high. If he were on his toes, he would remember me trying to recruit him a year ago to Us Records. Nevertheless, of course, he had to go where the big money was, and that is why he has not put out a record in a year. They're sitting on his shallow self. Thump! I heard a noise coming from the door to the right of me. We all looked, and there was a knock, as if someone was announcing they were coming inside the room, but in reverse. I assumed this was Johnny's house after surveying the pictures of him singing on stage all over the walls in the bedroom. Can you get that? Johnny asked, motioning by moving his head, acknowledging the 2 women beside him as if his hands were full. No, I'm not getting that. Looking at the door. Who knows what was in there? You are looking for Leon, right? Stephanie could barely form her words. I looked at Stephanie in total disbelief as she rolled over, trying to find her dress that was under a bunch of pillows. I walked over to the door and opened it. My mouth was as wide as the Brooklyn Bridge was long. Leon was in this closet, balled up in a fetal position, hugging a pillow. At that moment, I was more afraid than mad. I didn't know what to say or do. His eyes were red and he looked scared and out of his mind. Get your paranoid self out of this closet, Stephanie said as she dragged her sorry self over to the mess of Leon. Why am I here? I thought as I wanted to turn around and run. Leon didn't move as he looked at Stephanie. You see, we can't get him out, Stephanie said as she buttoned her Versace wrap dress. Where are his clothes? I asked. Stephanie walked over to a chair by sliding the glass window and picked his shirt and pants and gave them to me. I knelt down on the floor. Leon, it's okay. Put this on. I took the pillow out of his sweaty arms and gave him his shirt. Okay, Ani, Leon said as he started getting dressed. Stephanie blurted out as she swiftly came out of her high. I have been trying to get you out of this closet all night, and all you could tell me was the aliens and the Martians were coming to get you. This trick steps in here for 10 minutes, and you do what she says? Okay, this was getting ready to get ugly. I'm here in a strange environment, unprotected with no backup. I looked around thinking intently. Leon stood up, put his pants on, and walked out the closet. I looked at my watch. It was approaching 4 a.m. Okay, is he out of the closet and I have to go? I no longer wanted to be involved. He was not my problem. I proceeded to walk towards the door to ex make my exit and I heard a slam. I turned around and Leon was gone. Did that fool just back into the closet again? I asked. Johnny Fox lit his cigarette and puffed up his pillows and leaned back, cuddling the other chick as if they were watching television. He ain't coming out to any more of my parties, Johnny Fox said as he inhaled his cigarette. Stephanie looked at me unsure of what to do. I could see the headlines tomorrow. Rising star has a meltdown, drugged out in the closet of $3 million home in Laguna Niguel. That's all us records needed is some bad publicity. I walked over to the closet, slapped Leon in the head as if a mother to a child, and told him to get his sorry self out of the closet. Okay, but I'm going with you, Leon jumped up. Oh no! If you going with her, I'm going too. Stephanie stumbled around looking for her shoes. I didn't say anything. I just thought whoever was coming better be coming right now because I was leaving. I walked out of that house so fast. I knew all the people on hallucinogens thought they saw a ring of fire. Ricky and Lucy trailed behind me. As we got in the car, Leon tried to sit in the front seat with me. No, no, it is not that kind of party. Get in the back with your girl. Leon and Stephanie crawled in the back seat like the slime they were in the bottom of a rock. As I drove down the street trying to find a freeway, I just thought about how stupid I was driving my ex and the woman he left me for to safety. Where do you live? I asked them both, trying to see which direction to head. Stephanie started to tell me the directions while Leon protested. I'm not going to her house, Leon kept saying as he started throwing up out the window. Oh, yes, you are, Leon. I have a plane to catch and you cannot go with me. I screamed so loud I thought my ears were going to pop. Take me to the duplex, Leon said. Oh my God. As he wiped the residue of spit from his mouth. The duplex, I echoed. I wanted to cry. Why did he think he could just go back to my home after he left so abruptly? I knew it was nothing I could do. His name was still on the lease. It was almost 5:30 and I had to make it to LAX within the hour. I didn't have time for this. I made a quick U-turn and hoped that the police wasn't watching. I drove to the place that we called our home that was no longer our sanctuary with a broken heart and another woman to add to the drama. Uh, I don't know if I would have done that. Get out, I told both of them as I stopped the car. Aren't you going to give me the keys? Leon asked if I owed this to him. I could tell he was on some me, myself, and I stuff. He no longer cared about my feelings and my life. It was all about him. No, I'm not. If you want to get in, call the police. I'm through with this. I will be back on Monday. If you don't want me to hate you with every ounce of my being, you better be gone by then. I barked as I looked straight ahead at the street lights. Leon stood on the sidewalk and looked into the car at me. Well, if we don't have any keys, then I'm not getting out. You are going to have to drive me home, Stephanie arrogantly said as she looked out the side window. That was it. I had all that I could stand. I put the car in park and I opened the door so hard I thought it was going to break off. Is that what you think? I yelled as I opened the door to the back seat. Stephanie braced herself as if she was really surprised that I was coming after her. I grabbed her arm and pulled her out of my car. Her shoe rolled into the street as she stumbled trying to catch her balance. I told you, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. But you have to just test my patience. Just a little too far, I said as I looked at her. You stupid low budget tramp, Stephanie yelled. I walked up to her, put my whole hand over her face, and pushed her to the ground. If I were you, I wouldn't get back up until you see my car down the street. I huffed, trying to keep myself from jumping on top of her skinny body and pouncing her on her face. I don't know what Leon was doing. I had tunnel vision. I walked to the front seat. Give me my shoe. I heard Stephanie scream. I leaned back I leaned to the back seat of the car and grabbed her other shoe and threw it out the window. As I made a mad dash onto the freeway in the airport, my blood was boiling. This was exactly what I get. Leon Leon made me regret ever having a heart. I should have left him in that closet. So that was chapter 5. I think what I was trying to get across with Leon and Onyx's relationship is that they had a friendship. Like they were lovers, but they were also friends. And so just because they were not together doesn't mean that she still didn't care about him. And so, who you gonna call when you trapped in the closet? You gonna call your friend. You gonna call the person that have your back. He didn't trust nobody else with his business. His personal business. So anyway, that was chapter 5. And nobody's commenting or having any questions. I still want to do a live, but I can't do it if I don't have no subscribers and nobody coming on to the live or nobody reading the book so we can discuss it. But anyway, I enjoy reading it because I'm reading a book a lot for the first time in a long time as I'm reading it to you. And it's funny to me. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed chapter 5. And I hope you have a great day. And blessings to you. And hope all is well in your life. Um, See you next time.